Into this video, we're going to look at a sector that is about to cause a major move in the market and why y'all should keep it in your radar. We're also going to be looking at some of the stocks that you guys asked in the comment section of the last video. Y'all, let's dive into the charts right off the bat. We got the SPY futures this time, SPY futures, and so far, I mean, we had the gap down that happened overnight. Yesterday was kind of a dull day, little to no movement right there. We just chopped in a very tiny range, especially when we look at the daily, right? Yesterday only gave us a very small doji. Today, a gap down followed by an intraday structure, a descending triangle that broke down at exactly 12:30, followed by the drop. Is it done yet? Are we gonna go lower? All right, these are questions that I'm sure a lot of you have right now, so we're going to address it. Honestly, I think when I first saw this structure, I thought that it could go just a little bit lower, not just to 5250, but to 5200, because that's where the next level of support is, right here. There's some dip buyers located right there. And I figured because we didn't see a gap up today, market makers will want to drag out this move. Meaning, I do not expect us to get above 5500, that line of resistance. I don't expect it to get triggered until like a week, maybe a week and a half from now. All right, that's what I think. I think they're dragging this thing out. Do I believe that we're gonna see a big double bottom like this before we jump like that? No, I don't think we're gonna drop that deep, if we are gonna drop even. All right, I don't think it's gonna be that deep. I think we're just going to stop at 52 and then chop sideways until maybe even until the FOMC meeting. All right, that's what I'm thinking right now. But looking at it on the daily charts, the bulls are kind of still in control. They're really struggling to hold on. Tomorrow's movement is gonna depend heavily on the semis, and I say this because TSM is about to report tomorrow. All right, and this is how TSM is looking. Right, we have the massive drop from the highs of 226 all the way down to support at 134, and then right now it's kind of looking like it almost looks like a dead cat bounce. It almost looks like it. Now, are there some things to get worried about based off of the daily charts? For the bulls, there is a gap right here that eventually is going to get filled. It's only a matter of time. Either earnings is going to cause the thing to shoot up, and then that gap is going to get taken care of, or if they post bad numbers, or if they put out weak guidance and a stock doesn't like it, it could gap down a lot. And if this thing drops, the market is also going to drop it. We might actually see the SPY at 5200, the SPY futures at least. All right, that's my thinking of it. I wouldn't be surprised if the reaction was either neutral, like an IV crush, to negative, just so that we can see the SPY retest 5200. All right, when the semis have massive moves, the Nasdaq follows suit. Let's check out the other semis that had earnings yesterday. The other semis that had earnings was ASML, and ASML, this is how it turned out. A bit surprising, but actually no, not surprising, because of the news that was released yesterday after hours when the video dropped by like $8 overnight. All right, I figured, yeah, the reaction through earnings isn't gonna be much, or it's gonna be negative and it's gonna stay down because of that news that they put out with NVDA needing some type of license to sell their chips in China, something like that. Again, do your research. But some news like that came out. That's why a lot of them just gapped down before ASML even reported their earnings. So let's look at the daily. And the daily with ASML, again, since we're looking at the sector, we're looking at the semis, One thing that does worry me is that right here. All right, that right there worries me a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to get filled tomorrow. It is a gap, by the way. It's a gap on a daily chart. 90% of all gaps eventually get filled at some point in time. Earnings didn't cause this thing to drop all the way down here, which is a good sign. That would have been very, very painful to anybody who was holding stock through earnings. That would have been almost a 20% drop right there. But maybe market makers have other plans later. Maybe months from now, we might see the stock down here. But in the near short, like in the short term, in the next few months that are happening, we're either gonna trade in this box before we climb higher above 700. All right, so semis is definitely something to keep in your watch. The stocks in the semis have good contracts, especially in NVDA and TSM. So keep your eyes on TSM tomorrow. And depending on how it opens, that's the direction that you want to follow. Again, the first 5 minutes is critical. If we gap up and we open up above 158, we want to see a green candle that looks like this with this amount of volume. Y'all see that, right? 1.7 million and 1.3 million. We want to see a 5-minute candle with that much volume or higher. That will be the confirmation that it actually wants to move a bit more, because when you look at the 1 hour, there is this cooking on there. I can connect it from here to here, and that could serve as resistance depending on how high it jumps. Like if it opens up that high, you want to be really, really careful to chase, because possibilities of a fake out. Like let's say we push up here at minute 2, minute 3, and then in the last minute we go right back down, and then we form a gravestone doji before we fade back down. Be very careful of that. It could happen. Be very cautious and be very, very patient. We want to see a bar out the gates, not a doji, not a dragonfly doji. We want to see a full green bar. Why does it do that? Yeah, we want to see a full green bar. This one, we want to see a candle that looks like that. All right, now let's do an update, because in the last video I've mentioned watch Bank of America for a big move to 40, and it kind of did a whole lot of nothing. I'm not gonna lie, like it did nothing. The only opportunity on here was very, very rapid for most people to even catch. It did its best to go as high as 38.75. The gap at the top is still there and still needs to get filled eventually at some point. I'm giving it 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, again, set an alert right here. I'm willing to bet that in 2 weeks that is going to ring. 2 weeks or less. All right. But for now, it's gonna chop. It's gonna do a whole lot of nothing. So be cautious. The gap at the bottom right here started to get filled. Maybe tomorrow, if we see a negative reaction on the semis and the Nasdaq collapse, then we might see this thing actually fully get filled at 36. Maybe even take care of this gap right here at 36 exactly before we chop and trade in a box until the next FOMC. All right, now the next stock that we're gonna look at, is one for the bears. Is one stock that I really think is ready to make a big move. It's just playing games at the moment, and it's app. All right, first and foremost, massive drop right here. All right, but it's not over yet. If you look at just this segment, just this portion right there, you see how the price is dropping, yes, but another thing that is showing incredible weakness is how the volume is also dropping from the 9th. From the 9th, we started at 13 million, and then we're going down to 10 million, and then 9 million, and then 7 million. It just keeps going. 6.7, And then now we have 7.3 million. A little uptick in the selling volume, but we are getting bearish. Like the bears are still in control of the stock. I still have an alert right here at 174. Today it got in that zone where the gap is, right here. The gap starts right at 230, right there, and ends down here. So right now this is how we're looking. Keep your eyes on this one. I want y'all to set an alert right here at 223, and then patiently wait for it to ring. I believe that the day that it rings, the sell-off could be tremendous, and it could either go through like one full day like this, or it could gap down and then drop, or it could be split into multiple days, maybe even 3 days like that, just to take care of that gap, because eventually that gap is going to get filled. It failed to do so on the 7th right here. It failed to open at 175 just to take care of it once and for all. So there's still a chance that within the next few weeks, definitely before the next earnings report, that is going to drop and fade and take care of that gap. So have your eyes on APP. That's my honest thoughts on all of these stocks, and that is the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. I make these videos from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 8 p.m. Central Time, so definitely click on that subscribe button and click on the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, you can find it as the first link in the description of the video below. Don't forget to follow my social media at Paul and Goodman Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns only. And I will see all of you in... There isn't a session on Friday, so I'm gonna see all of you on Sunday night.